Welcome to our first Focus Friday for 2026. We are thrilled to have docent Rita Kaplan speak to us today about Alison Saar, featuring our Print Man Club, which we have had in the collection. I think it's part of our Canadian print collection. So we're excited to learn more in honor of Black History Month. So take it away, Rita.
Okay. Well, good morning. I should be really not so uneasy about doing this because I was a teacher of art for a zillion years. Plus, I give a lot of tours in other particular museums. But anyway, I will start. Alison Saar, born February 5th, 1956, is one of three daughters of her mother, artist Betty Saar, and was encouraged from an early age to explore and engage with art. She completed her BFA in studio art and art history at Scripps College in Claremont, California in 1978, and received her MFA from the Otis Art Institute in Los Angeles, California in 1981. Saar studied Afro-Caribbean, Haitian, American, and Afro-Cuban art with various artists and became interested in African American folk art, which has since heavily influenced her own art that she's created. In 1982, at the age of 26, her work was presented, her first solo exhibition at the John Baum Gallery in Los Angeles. And she has since exhibited at many venues across the United States, including the High Museum of Art in Atlanta, Georgia. She credits her mother, who did a lot of collage work and assemblages, with exposing her to metaphysical and spiritual traditions. Her father was a painter and art conservator, and she helped him restore art also, as amongst the other things and ways that she learned. Her style encompasses a multitude of personal, artistic, and cultural references that reflect the plurality of her own experience. Her sculptures, installations, prints can be found. They're basically rough-hewn wood, also included old tin tiles, ceiling panels, nails, and shards of pottery and glass, and a lot of objects from just urban renewal, an urban rejection. In other words, she goes to junkyards. Her work is deeply tied to her multiracial heritage, and it is through this lens that she strikingly compares the human spirit. Through her sculptures, she displays the primal intensity of people underlying the civility of everyday life. She scrutinizes bigotry and historical burdens and portrays these concepts through a visual and kinesthetic tension common to many of her pieces. One such piece, titled Wait, actually shows a young Black girl on a swing. Now, this is not titled exactly the same, but I think it might be similar. Showing a young Black girl on a swing, weighed down with a shackle, and a lock and a key box, boxing gloves, and other assorted items on a cotton scale. And that piece was done in 1993, and her work has actually been likened to the work of Michelangelo. Her use of commonplace and specialized materials, her work makes them highly unique. When interviewed for opening, Alison Saar noted that her use of diverse materials, her studio is floor to ceiling with materials, so that when she starts cleaning up and going through them, other ideas come to her. So in other words, she doesn't really throw anything away. Maybe she reorganizes, but she doesn't throw out. And she combines African art and Greek mythology and German aspects of expressionism. Through her sculptures, drawings, and prints, Alison Saar explores the subjects of racism, sexism, ageism, and the specific challenges of being biracial in America. Touching on many personal, artistic, and cultural references, Saar's work reflects the plurality of her own experiences. In many of her works, Saar invokes the kitchen as a powerful realm. In other words, it's a woman's world in the kitchen, in her mind, where a woman, in her role as mother, caretaker, provider, and priestess, cooks, conjures, and concocts, captivates, and commands. In Scorch Song, which is another work that she did in 2022, a female figure stands upright, carved from wood and gridded with a skirt of cast iron skillet like armor. She holds another pan as if it were a weapon. Man Club, which is the print on display, was one of a group of prints that she produced early in her career. It's composed of two separately printed sheets, a top and a bottom, that together form a single integrated image. It's a combination of lithography and woodcut on abaca paper. And that's a hemp paper, and it's made of fibers of a plant very similar to a banana plant. And beneath it lies a larger sheet of buff paper. And I found that buff paper, buff meaning tan or creamy color, is produced by Rives BFK printmaking paper. It's a professional grade substrate produced in a mill in France. And buff refers to a light tan or cream hue, which is basically the color of this particular paper. It's made of 100% rag, it's acid-free and buffered to ensure longevity and quality. Its surface texture is smooth with a fine light grain. And this particular print, the print that's shown here, I found also online. And to buy it, if you were interested, according to what I found out, it's $6,500 for sale. And it is signed by the artist. And she prefers not to frame her prints, but she prefers the people that buy her prints to have them framed professionally. And Man Club plays into the duality, which is the title of that print, plays into the duality of masculinity, the body being shown as strength and also as vulnerable. And it's layered, there's two layers, an underneath one, and then the top one having a hole through which you can see the part of the print that's underneath. And it represents, in her opinion, Black masculinity, the body as both a carrier and a container of history, and interior and exterior identities, emotional and generational inheritance. And the classical image is collaged into the torso may suggest ancestral burden or cultural imprinting, placing Western art history in a Black body, which is an unusual combination. And it's also characterized as a critique of colonization. And she embeds inherited imagery inside the figure, suggesting how the body becomes a site of imposed meaning, history, or trauma. The eyes are blank, perhaps signifying erasure or blindness or spiritual absence. The work speaks to Black masculinity, bodily inheritance, and the complexity of internalized cultural ideas. In just one figure, Saar evokes centuries of myth, violence, survival, and identity. And it just shows basically the primal instinct of people underlying the civility of everyday life. And that would be it.
That's fabulous.
The background, is that the woodcut, all the,
I
looks like a wood texture, and then the
believe so.
lithograph is the man?
I
Yeah.
think so,
If you
yes.
actually walk up to it, and I would recommend you do as soon
Yeah.
as we're done chatting, you can actually see the double layer in the stomach. So
Right,
it, yeah.
Yeah, she was saying, looking through it, you can see that in the background.
Mhm.
What do we think,
in the internalized things, I can see a palm tree, 2 birds, and is it a woman out
Yeah,
there?
it's like almost a woman in this gesture, like reaching up. And also and this is just something I noticed about it as well, is when we talk about Black bodies and ancestral heritage and trauma and the erasure, I think, the figure literally looks like a club.
Yes.
So it's the weaponization
Yes.
of Blackness, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mhm.
I feel that that's a little bit associated in some way with her idea of a woman being the priestess of
Right.
her own
Oh.
kitchen,
Mhm.
I see.
using a skillet as a weapon.
Mhm.
So I kind of see that as a little bit contradictory
Yeah.
to her theory of women being in charge, but yet here's the man,
Yeah.
that you could see inside.
It's almost like the woman has tools of weaponization, whereas the man's like the body of weaponization. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was wonderful, Rita. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
That was wonderful.